Welcome on back, everybody, to another Pokemon Pocket video. It's your boy Ben here, and that's right. If you are excited as I am, the new set has been trailered. The trailer has been dropped, and so we know that we're getting our A3, the third biggest installment into the Pokemon Pocket. Excited to see the meta flip upside its head. We've gotten a taste through the trailer for some cards that are coming in. We're getting some that are just like the Solgaleo pack, some that are just from the Luna pack to represent that sun and that moon. But there's a whole array of Pokemon that come with the Gen 7. So today's video is really to just kind of like peek through, see kind of like what's going to come from all of that, really take a look at the meta that is in the cards that are in the TCG, and just kind of see how they play out here. So let's go ahead and just dive right on in. And like the first card that we want to see is this one right here. We're gonna just do this. Beautiful. This is UI. Okay, I think it's time. And I just want to say, I just want to clarify one more time, y'all. I just want to clarify one more time. We're just looking at the abilities, or reading the abilities of the attacks. Obviously, the HP and the damage of the attacks are set for the standard TCG. So just like, bear with me on that part as we like continue to talk through this. Oh, and we're super close to 10,000 subscribers. Go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe, click the notification bell button, do all of the things, because with your help, we can hit 10,000 by June. So let's make that happen. All right, y'all. Decidueye. I think it's time. Like our first video we're going to talk about is Decidueye, Incineroar, and Primarina. And I think it's time that we bring back having all of our starters and having all of our starters have EXs. Just do it. We've seen them put out packs where there's 9 EX Pokemon, so who knows? Who knows like how many we're gonna get? Like they get put out 9 EXs in just one pack is what I mean by that. So who knows how many we're getting? We can't even speculate at that point. So like, let's make it a wish list. And I wish for the full starter lines, everybody to be in there, and everybody to have an EX, and everybody to be happy. So the Decidueye EX has the ability Total Freedom in the standard TCG. Once during your turn, you may use this ability. If this Pokemon's on your bench, switch it with your active Pokemon, or if this Pokemon is in the active spot, switch it with one of your bench Pokemon. I like this. I like this a lot. I like this ability. I mean, yeah, the ability called Total Freedom is pretty sweet. But essentially, having this be a free retreat for you is pretty cool. And you can like attack while you're setting this up in the back. Once it's finally free, you get to keep the energy that was on your top mod, go back out to it, heal up in the background while you're hitting and attacking with your hunting arrow, which like it does damage to the bench Pokemon, which makes sense. We've seen that type of attack before. And then you get to retreat for free. And just kind of like keep that rotation up as you're building up either a second line of this or something else as that's part of your deck. So this ability is really cool. Again, being able to freely control your board space in Pokemon Pocket is very coveted. It's why we have the Sky Shaman as a card. It's why Leaf is valued, and why once upon a time X speeds ran rampant in every single deck. And so even just being able to control your own retreat costs for free, essentially, in a card, I think has a lot of value, and having that as an ability is pretty cool, and I don't think it's broken, and it would fit well into the game. We have Incineroar EX here. The ability is House of Play. Attacks used by this Pokemon cost 1 colorless energy less for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So if they have a full bench, then you're essentially attacking for 2 energy. And then you can kind of go from there. This being a fire type definitely could ramp up well with a like Moltres in terms of like the energy attacks here. I kind of like this being like a high damaging move with a high cost of energy. We've seen them now go 5 energy in Pokemon Pocket with the new Charizard, and like it also being able to provide its own energy with Stoke, but nonetheless it still has that 5 energy attack with like no downside to it other than the fact that it takes 5 energy to attack here. So I think having Incineroar EX kind of mirror that, and with this ability lets you play around in a fun way of like generating your own kind of energy, but you do have to like let like that, like your opponent can play around with it. Like this is what's something that's face up, so that could be challenging here. Your opponent, like, you know, in similar fashion, if they know that you're playing Pidgeot EX, for example, they don't fill out your bench. So like Incineroar EX, like while this could be a cool thing, people will not play out their full bench, and so we'll see. So like maybe you do Moltres this thing out, Arcane this up, get the energies going, and then everything is fine. And then they have no choice but to play bench Pokemon. So we'll see. But I like this. This is a different type of attack and different type of ability, and it'd be well welcomed in. And so last of the starters, we have a Primarina. We see Bubble Beat. It does 20 more damage the amount of water energy attached to this Pokemon. That's kind of scary. I'm not gonna lie to you. If like Stage 2s typically have like, like water Pokemon, especially like 180 HP. We have Lily now to heal this thing continuously. You have Irida to heal this thing continuously. You have Pokemon Center to heal this thing continuously. And it's a stage 2, so like that's 60, that's 40, that's 30, and like a Misty, right? Like you could just run these cards. Once you get to this Primarina and your Misty's like online with this thing, it kind of goes crazy with that. And then the wrong series is just discard an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. We've seen that time and time again. Beedrill, Gyarados, the non-EX version does that directly, and then we have that with Gyarados that does a random across the board for higher attack. So I like this Bubble Beat idea. Just those Misty high flips would just like tilt me so hard. Up next, we got Lincoln Rock, which like it wasn't shown in the trailer. And this would be a very sweet Lunala addition. You have your other Lincoln Rocks, like your Dusk, your Dawn, and your Midnight, obviously. But I like the Midnight. I just like the werewolf feel of it. And Bloodthirsty Eyes. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your bench, you may switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active Pokemon. I like this ability a lot. I think being able, I think it's like, hey, yes, I do get to control that you're switching, but I have to get it to a stage 1, and I can only do it once. So I kind of want to time it right where then like I can take advantage of like what I'm switching into. And therefore, if you see like, my Rockruff, you could plan accordingly, whether that is to evolve and get your health up, whether that's a giant cape so that that you're surviving an attack, whether that is to Sabrina up the Rockruff and like take it out before I can evolve as well. So I think that is like a cool play around here. And like this is where you like can have healing. So there's a lot of counterplay into this ability, but for the fact that it is an ability that activates when you evolve is something that's different that we don't have currently. And if we do, please let me know if I'm wrong in that sense, but I don't believe that we do. And I think that is a cool addition here that could happen. And then it just kind of has like, 3 energy attack, 110. Something basic, something that you can do once you bring in your Pokemon in here. I think attack a stage 1 for like a 3 energy attack. You let me know what the damage would do for this. Because you do have the opportunity to pick any of the Pokemon in the bench. So what seems fair? Maybe like 60, maybe 70, but who knows? But I do like this ability a lot. And then we have Mimikyu. So the way Mimikyu is worked out here, I would also love to see Mimikyu in Pokemon Pocket. Again, another great Lunala card to be in the pack here. It's a basic Pokemon. And Psychic, Psychic also just got that new Choreo, which is like 1 energy, and it kind of does like the revenge attack there. But this Mimikyu really like plays on this idea, like plays on this ability that's in the game of Disguise with this like safeguard ability. Prevents all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon EX. And I'm trying to figure out if I like this. Is this like? Please let me know right now. Let me know in the comments. Mimikyu, is it broken? Because it is only affecting your EX Pokemon. So you do have opportunity to attack. It only has 70 HP. So like this could be even less, like 60 in Pokemon Pocket. But like you can attack it with your basic. This does mean that you should be running a stage 1. If it's you have a stage 2, and you could be attacking with there, and then you kind of go from there, like right, like there's obviously counterplay, like it's not saying all Pokemon, so like and maybe coming from this meta where it was literally Darkrai, Giratina, having like just such a direct counter to those style of decks just feels refreshing, to say the least. And for sure, those decks will still probably run rampant, like, right? Like, it's a Mimikyu is a psychic type, and it does, like, it is a psychic type, so it's not like you can run this in any deck, but, I mean, like, this ability is pretty sweet. And then our next card here would be Mudsdale, that like we would be looking forward to. And I just think I like this rendition here. Attach a basic energy card from your discard pile to each of your bench Pokemon. So how this would read is like attach a fighting energy from your discard pile to each of your bench Pokemon. So if there's one, each of your bench gets one. And it's a stage 1, so like you kind of have to be there. You also kind of have to have a energy in the discard pile in order for it to ramp up. So I think that's also fair and good in that sense. I like it. I think fighting needs its own ramp. And if Mudsdale is the one to bring it, then that's really, really cool to see. Will fighting be too good if it gets ramp? I'm not sure, but it definitely has a lot of 4 energy attackers or 3 energy attackers that will do well. And like it definitely feels like a lot of these fighting cards are like getting like the water treatment, but they have no Misties. So why not just like give them Mudsdale and let the game go crazy? We've seen time and time again that the meta always forms around new cards. And so, like, if this is too broken, they're going to get a new set of cards, and this won't feel as broken anymore. So, we'll see how that goes if they decide to bring something like this in. I like Golisopod. Golisopod is just such a cool design. I really like this rendition of like the attacks that are here. You have like a colorless attack, which is like Aqua Blade. And you have here Swing and Skedaddle, which I think is such a funny name for an attack. Obviously, I don't think it should do 107 damage, but this says discard an energy from this Pokemon. If you do, switch it with one of your bench Pokemon. So your retreat cost is 1. And so like, and it's also like you can choose to do it or not. So I like being able to play on like the emergency exit like that it does is pretty sweet. There are some other cards that like do first impression or like have that as an ability, but I like the fact that like it's controlled. I like the fact that you get to choose whether you want to do it or not. And essentially having a 3 retreat cost or a 1 retreat cost just like encourages you to be aggressive in order for you to like preserve it. So that's pretty sweet. And I don't think that we have something that's like, hey, you attack and do damage, and then you can go into one of your bench Pokemon. Because Magikarp currently has Leap Out, and that allows you to switch with an attack. Same thing with Ralts with Teleport. However, none of those are damaging moves. And so being able to have a damaging move, but obviously there's a downside. You have to discard an energy. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So we got another Pokemon that would like be pretty sweet. We see dragons typically with every set. Kamo is like the dragon for Gen 7. So like, why not have it here? It has Warcry. If you have fewer Pokemon in play than your opponent, this attack does 90 more damage. So is this one of those things where like you only play this stage 2 line, right? You go the baby form of this, which I'm like forgetting the name, and then Rare Candy, put this up as 2 energy. Now you're attacking for said damage, like the 10 plus 60 or whatever, you know, however they decide to like make that work for Pocket. pretty cool. If you have one Pokemon, however, if your opponent sees that, like, do they only play Pokemon when you play Pokemon, so they don't enable this, which is really funny. Clanging Scales during your opponent's next turn. This Pokemon takes 30 more damage from attacks. That sounds crazy. Is this good? That's not good. Maybe it's because it's 3 energy for 130, so like 3 energy for a high damaging move here. But taking 30 more, so if I get attacked for 70, I'm getting hit for 100. Or like Giratina hitting us for 130, and then that like clears me in one hit. That sounds like a lot. So I don't know if it needs to take 30 more. Definitely, we've seen attacks with this kind of breakdown. Giratina EX, you have Arcanine EX where they do damage to themselves. So I don't think the number would exceed 20 in that sense, but you know, you never know. You never know. Beware is actually also another fun card. And Beware just has like some fun effects and fun abilities. I kind of like this one. When you play this card from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may draw 3 cards. I think you draw 1. I think it's similar to like Reckless Sharing, where you with Garchomp, where you get to use the Pokemon ability to draw a card. It is a stage 1. You only get to do it twice in the game, so like, is it broken in terms of draw power? Like drawing in a 20 card deck where you're already seeing most of your cards could be problematic, but you know, we'll see. And then this Dangerous Blow is really cool here because it's 120 damage if your opponent's active Pokemon is a basic Pokemon. So Miroscada targets EX Pokemon, but that's a stage 2, but Beware is a stage 1 and targets basic Pokemon. So you still are affecting, there still is like this like big Venn diagram of Pokemon that they both affect here. You're you know, obviously your Giratina, your Darkrai, your Mewtwo, your Arceus. But then you get into things like your Origin Form Palkias in those Gyarados decks. That clears it in one go. You have obviously Manaphy, but Manaphy will get cleared even if it was like a non-basic Pokemon. You also can take out a Moltres with a red with like this as well too. You know, this is taking into consideration if it's 120 because Miroscada is 130, so like could play around with that. But like it still does work to some of these top decks that are being played out right now. It is a fighting weakness, so thinking of the fighting decks that we have, it will clear, if by the time that you have 3 energy, it can clear out some of them. So like this effect here is pretty cool, and I like it a lot. And then our last Pokemon that I am like kind of looking forward to is Palossand, and the reason why is like this could just be another fun way of introducing a new mechanic to the game. Obviously with A1 we got the cards, and I believe with A2 we got items. And so like, do we get stadiums? Do we get stadiums? Is this where they introduce stadiums into the game? We know that like when you like first play Pokemon Pocket, there's like a slot that's next to, like, here's the active spot, here's your 3 benches, right? 1, 2, 3. And then like right here is usually where your card will go to sometimes, and you kind of have to like push it over to the right to get it to the active spot. And so like maybe that's where, you know, they've coded where stadiums go. And so it would be really interesting to see if that gets introduced into the game, and then obviously the effects that stadiums will have in general to the board state of you and your opponent, but also being able to impact individual cards like Palossand here, who gains an additional amount of damage if it's in play. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, y'all, like, there are so many different possibilities that they can go here. If you're thinking about like, hey Ben, why didn't you include any legendaries, or like I think the legendary space is for Gen 7. You have your Tapus, you have your Ultra Beasts, you have your Necrozmas. I feel like they can save those. Maybe this set gets the Tapus, but I definitely think that their mini set will be the Ultra Beasts for I think I'm obviously can't say for sure because I don't know, but I think that's the case. So focusing on like what could hit here, looking at like some of those really cool Pokemon designs of Gen 7, would love to see them. Would love to see more of those Alolan Pokemon as well too. Alolan Executor sounds like that can go off, but just kind of giving some love to some Pokemon that we just haven't thought about yet or thought about in a while. But yeah, y'all, as always, kick back, relax, enjoy the rest of your time after watching this video. Make sure that you comment down below to boost up the algorithm and all those fun things so that we can continue our climb to 10K. And I hope you all enjoyed it, so go ahead, hit that like button as you head out, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.